Hey, what's up, guys? This is more of a positive video than the last one I just posted. Going off on some guy by the name of Warcore 666 about his idiotics. Anyway, this is a response to once again another video that my buddy Silent Night made, talking about YTV, which is a Canadian episode, not Canadian episode, Canadian show, Canadian channel, excuse me, that was first brought into viewing screens like back in the late 1980s. And I'm going to clear up a few things that Silent Night said because, well, he's he's younger than me, I'm older than him, so my viewing experience of YTV was a lot more wider, I suppose you could say, memory-wise for me. I was born in 1989. I think Knight was born in 1992 or something like that. I don't really know. And to me, my YTV experiences growing up was absolutely phenomenal. I mean, YTV was the shit when it came to television programming. I mean, I grew up with shows like Reboot, Beast Wars, watching The Zone when I was a kid, and Rugrats and Batman and stuff like that you really don't see these days. I mean, growing up in the 90s was really awesome for a kid like me growing up, and I agree with what Silent Night made. He said, I quote, that he felt that The Zone and YTV was dying a slow, miserable, painful death, especially The Zone, and I totally agree with him. I mean, nowadays you've got only like 3 or 4 different episodes, 3 or 4 different shows on YTV that are on The Zone, and The Zone just died a slow, miserable death. I mean, to me, it was like just like dragging on something, and I think it should be taken off the air. But when I was a kid, I used to watch YTV back when PJ Phil was on there, and Phil was Filipino. And a little story here, I remember a friend of mine who I filmed Republic of Doyle with. He looked a lot like Phil, but that TV thing that Silent Night was talking about, that was actually called Snit, and it was awesome. Snit had actually his own Saturday morning thing called Snit Station, and he had the purple skin, he had the eyes, and on the TV screen it was the mouth and everything like that. And Phil was always cracking adult jokes, and you had such shows on there that were just awesome. And watching YTV, I taped the whole night, or my mother did when I was a kid, just taped the whole night of YTV, Super Dave Osborne, just stuff like that was just unbelievable for a kid in the 90s. Power Rangers and stuff like that, and Superhuman Samurai Summer Squad. I mean, growing up in the 90s was really, really cool. And then after PJ Phil, I think it was, believe it or not, I think The Zone went on hiatus for a while, and then it came back with Jenny and somebody else. And this was like during the 2000s, even in the mid to late 90s and into early 2000s, the YTV was still pretty good. I'm not going to deny that YTV was still pretty good, but the highlight of when it just started to just slope down was when they had something called the Cenobites or something like that. What they were like little beetles that were always crawling over the screen, chewing up the screen. And Friendly Fowl was this big masked chicken that they had, and Jenny and the other guy were going down into the toilet and the sewer to, I don't know, it was just ridiculous. And unfortunately at the time, well, I was grounded, so I didn't get to finish watching it. But after that, Jenny, she left and did her own thing, just left YTV, and was replaced by Sugar, the most annoying pipsqueak. She was hot, I will say this. She was the most annoying pipsqueak voice ever, and she was actually the voice of Reenie in Sailor Moon, which is not really a big surprise because they were both equally annoying in the voices. Then after Sugar left, and then after Jenny left, it was Sugar and this other guy. Then he got replaced by Carlos, and then it was Carlos and Sugar. Then Sugar left and did her own stuff, and now it's just Carlos on there, and now it's just recluse. I mean, you look at YTV now, there's no original programming on there anymore, just stuff that I don't know if it's just me being older or if it's me, wishing it was better. I mean, the 90s were it. I mean, for people growing up in the 60s were it, 70s, 80s were the shit. And then the 90s to me was always the best because, innocence, childhood, blah, 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 blah. But to me, literally, I watch YTV now, and literally, they got a cartoon for emos. Really? I just can't believe that something like that would actually go on and that it would ruin YTV that much. To me, YTV, it's never gonna leave, but it's one of those things that you can't replace it like 20 years down the road with something that, it's just one of those things that it was once in a lifetime thing and it's never going to change again. It'd be like having this Pepsi can and bringing it back with this type of Pepsi can. It's good for a while, and retro is always good. It's good to relive your fantasies and relive your childhood, but you know, once again, it's never going to be as good as what it once was. I'm Travis Drago. That's the way it is.